Lai calls for peace at Martyrs' Shrine visit.
President Lai Ching-te yesterday called on countries to uphold peace and promote freedom and democracy overall. As Taiwan marks 80 years since the end of World War II and the Second Sino-Japanese War. In a Facebook post after presiding over a memorial ceremony at the National Revolutionary Martyrs' Shrine in Taipei, Lai said he and Vice President Xiao Bi-kim honored those who sacrificed their lives in major battles. In his remarks, he contrasted Taiwan with Beijing's military parade yesterday, saying that Taiwan does not believe in commemorating peace by holding guns. He also recalled that on September 2, 1945, then ROC General Hu Yung-chang signed the Instrument of Surrender with other allies, bringing the war to an end. Meanwhile, the DPP's Department of China Affairs condemned the parade, calling it warmongering, while the Mainland Affairs Council sought to point out the historical irony of Beijing holding such an event, saying that no matter how many resources the CCP spends on commemorative events, it cannot cover up the ironclad historical fact that the ROC made countless sacrifices and contributions that led to victory, while the CCP only sought to expand and consolidate its own power and made no contribution to the war effort.
Court hearing opens on Cai Wen-je detention.
The Taipei District Court is in session today to hear arguments regarding former Taipei Mayor Cai Wen-je's detention. Joining Cai in requesting to be released from detention is KMT Taipei City Councilor Ying Xiaowei. The two are approaching 1 year in detention in October. Prosecutors at that time indicted several people in the Core Pacific City case, including both Qi and Ying. Most of them have now been released on bail, but Ke and Ying remain under detention.
Taiwan signs MOU on drone cooperation with Poland, Ukraine.
Taiwan has signed a memorandum of understanding with Ukrainian and Polish counterparts to build cooperation in the field of drone technology. That's according to Taiwan's representative office in Poland. The MOU states that Taiwan will provide technology and components, while Ukraine will contribute research and development, and Poland will share its expertise in the field. Taiwan's representative to Poland says that the MOU will enhance future defense technology exchanges, expand industrial capacity, and strengthen security collaboration among the three countries. The Taiwanese delegation included representatives from about 20 defense companies.
HAPA will not impact Taiwan. Wu Derong.
Tropical storm Paipa formed this morning, but meteorologist Wu Derong says the storm will not impact Taiwan. He added that the storm is currently arriving in Kyushu and is forecast to hit mainland Japan tomorrow. He advises those traveling to Japan to be cautious. Although Taiwan will not be hit directly by Paipa, Wu said that Taiwan should still look out for afternoon thunderstorms today and potential heavy rain and even hail. The Central Weather Administration today upgraded Paipa from a tropical depression to a tropical storm.
U.S. approves $32 million for Nigeria.
Now turning to international news. The U.S. is approving $32.5 million in assistance for Nigeria to help address hunger, marking a rare shift in U.S. foreign policy since President Trump took office. The funding will provide food assistance and nutrition support to internally displaced people in conflict-affected areas. This comes after the Trump administration abruptly suspended most aid through the U.S. Agency for International Development. Nigeria has been suffering from insecurity and funding cuts that threw the country into a major hunger crisis that could leave more than 1.3 million people without food, and force the closure of 150 nutrition clinics in Borno State. Jamaican election. Voters in Jamaica are heading to the polls in an election that many believe could be a defining moment for an island shaken by corruption, inequity, and economic concerns. Incumbent Prime Minister Andrew Holness of the Jamaica Labour Party is running against attorney and longtime People's National Party leader, Mark Golding. The Jamaica Progressive Party and the United Independence Congress are also in the running. 9 independent candidates are also registered to contest the election in several constituencies.
New policies targeting young people.
The Executive Yuan is set to approve a package of policies targeting young people raising a family. They include housing, a flexible parental leave system, and exempting the new youth housing loan from bank lending limits. Officials say the policies are designed to give young families priority access to housing, increase rental subsidies, provide flexibility for childcare, and help first-time homebuyers successfully purchase a home. On housing, officials say from this year until 2028, 20% of 11,000 public housing units will be prioritized for households with children aged 0 to 6. The rental subsidy program will also be expanded to cover individuals whose average monthly income is less than 3.5 times the minimum living expense. Meanwhile, the flexible parental leave system would allow workers to apply for parental leave in units of single days within the maximum 2 years of unpaid parental leave. In addition, family care leave could be taken in increments as small as 1 hour for workers to take care of their family members in need. Officials say banks will also strengthen scrutiny of those who apply for new youth housing loans to make sure that they have the means to pay back.
Tourism admin. No Taiwan nationals in Portugal streetcar incident.
The Tourism Administration says no Taiwan tour groups have been reported affected by a streetcar derailment in Portugal. Officials say they have not received any reports from travel agencies about Taiwan nationals involved after the Gloria Funicular, a popular tourist attraction, derailed near Liberty Avenue in Lisbon, leaving over a dozen people dead. The Taipei Economic and Cultural Center in Portugal also confirmed it has not received any information about Taiwan tour groups related to the accident. The Tourism Administration says it will continue to monitor the situation.
Taiwan shares.
Taiwan shares rose today amid mixed performances of the other Asian stock markets. The TAIEX gained 79 points to end the session at 24,179. The turnover was 440.9 billion NT. AP, EU, Ukraine, Europe security guarantees.
AP, EU, Ukraine, Europe security guarantees.
In world news, European countries are facing tough choices as they meet in Paris to discuss security guarantees for Ukraine. The so-called Coalition of the Willing, led by France and the UK, insists on U.S. backing for any European force in Ukraine. But while U.S. President Donald Trump has hinted at American involvement, participation remains unclear. After a recent meeting with Putin in Alaska, Trump stopped pushing for a ceasefire in Ukraine, something European leaders say is necessary to deploy troops. While Trump and European leaders met in Washington after the Alaska summit, little concrete detail has emerged on the security guarantees to deter Moscow from a future conflict. The UK, France, and Estonia have all suggested they are ready to deploy troops to Ukraine to deter Putin from attacking again, but it won't happen without the United States' support. Court hearing opens on Kwenza detention.
ROK Air Force refutes reports of verbal altercation with Chinese pilots.
The ROC Air Force is refuting reports of a verbal altercation with a Chinese pilot. The Air Force headquarters says audio recordings recently posted on a social media page in which a voice is heard criticizing a Chinese pilot over radio is simply not true. Military officials say ROC pilots are not responsible for issuing verbal warnings, and instead, warnings are broadcast from ground control. The officials say pilots are highly disciplined and would not get into a shouting match with a Chinese pilot, as it could easily lead to unintended conflict. The Air Force says such behavior is strictly prohibited.
Fuzhou Station trialing new pedestrian safety feature.
New Taipei's Fuzhou MRT station began piloting a new safety feature to protect pedestrians at busy intersections. The city government has installed LED floor tiles that change color in sync with pedestrian signals, making it easier for both walkers and drivers to see whether it's safe to cross. Officials say the lights are designed to catch attention even in poor weather or at night, and the tiles are slip-resistant and pressure-tested for heavy use. The city will monitor the trial to assess its effectiveness before deciding whether to expand the system to other locations.
Dalian Airport MRT power outage briefly affects 2,000 passengers.
The Taoyuan Airport MRT says that about 2,000 passengers were affected by a brief power disruption earlier today. Officials report that an abnormality in the third rail power supply triggered the system's automatic protection mechanism, causing a 3-minute service interruption. 19 trains were delayed, but services resumed once the fault was isolated and power was restored. The company has apologized for the inconvenience and says it will inspect the system after operations end tonight. Passengers can request official delay certificates online or at station service counters.
UAE warns Israel against annexing West Bank.
The United Arab Emirates has warned that any Israeli move to annex the occupied West Bank would be a red line without specifying its possible impact on the landmark normalization accord between the two countries. The warning came as Israel pressed ahead with the initial stages of its latest major offensive in famine-stricken Gaza City. Israeli strikes across the Gaza Strip overnight and into Wednesday killed at least 31 people, according to local hospitals. Israelis were taking part in a day of disruption to protest the call-up of 60,000 reserves for the expanded operation, which has sparked global condemnation and left the country increasingly isolated. Study: extreme weather 40x more likely due to climate change.
Study: extreme weather 40 times more likely due to climate change.
A new study says climate change has made extreme weather conditions, like those fueling wildfires in the Iberian Peninsula, 40 times more likely. Released today, the analysis by World Weather Attribution highlights that these conditions were about 30% more intense compared to the pre-industrial era. Researchers emphasize that climate change increases the frequency and intensity of such events, complicating fire control efforts. They also point to neglected rural areas as contributing factors. New policies targeting young people.
Government expands housing and rent aid for young families.
The Executive Yuan has approved new housing and rent subsidy measures to support young couples and families. From this year through 2028, the government will release over 11,000 public housing units for married couples and those raising children. 20% of new social housing will be reserved for newlyweds within 2 years of marriage or families with preschool children, with leases of up to 12 years to ensure stability. The government is also expanding its rental subsidy program with increased income limits. 1. And qualifying couples will receive a 50% boost in subsidies within 2 years of marriage, with another 50% added for each child. Families renting through government-managed programs will also be eligible for up to 6,000 NT annually for safety upgrades, such as window guards and power outlet covers. Officials say by 2028, more than 480,000 households will benefit from subsidies or managed rentals, with a total budget of 27 billion NT.
Former Taipei Mayor Ko Wen-je breaks down in court over detention extension.
Former Taipei Mayor Ko Wen-je broke down in tears several times today during a Taipei District Court hearing on whether to extend his detention. K has already been held for 1 year after being indicted on corruption and influence peddling charges linked to the Core Pacific City project. Prosecutors are seeking a prison sentence of 28 years and 6 months. At the hearing, attended by Ke and former city councilor Ying Xiaowei, Ke accused prosecutors of acting like online trolls instead of upholding fairness, saying they have suppressed his rights. He said their main allegation, that he took 15 million NT in cash from Core Pacific Group chairman Shen Qingjing, remains unproven. The courtroom turned emotional as K's wife, TPP members, and supporters wept in the gallery while he spoke. A judge said a ruling on whether to extend Key's detention will be announced at a later date.